Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a hump day. Harder to see the hump day mug with the ring light when I hold it close. Anyway, hump day edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, and Parrish Construction and Roofing. Reminder that Brock, Rock, and Wine. I think I like that one better. Do y'all like that one better or that one better? I think I like that one. Rock and Wine coming up Saturday, July 27th, inside of Tiger Stadium. Get your tickets today at brortho.com. And of course, Parish Construction Roofing and restoredmotions.com. All right, y'all. It turns out that I don't know if y'all knew this, but Texas was targeting the Texas A&M baseball coach Jim Schlossnagle to be their head coach, and they landed him. I don't know. I mean, that was just such a stunner for all of college baseball. I'm not sure who at all could have seen that coming. I don't know who possibly would have had any insight or inclination that that could have happened and might have told you so. Certainly not some sports director at a college station TV news station, because I recall that guy, what was his name again? Doesn't matter. That he was laughing at some other SEC market radio guy, might have been Baton Rouge or something like that, for suggesting that Schlossnagle might leave Texas A&M. I mean, the type of thing you would expect from a lot of like fans on Twitter who just don't know any better, but certainly not a credentialed media member who's covering the team whose coach is about to get stolen away by their biggest rival. I don't know how anybody could make that mistake. Surely not. So Jim Schlossnagle leaves Texas A&M for Texas. 10-year, $30 million guaranteed, $3 million a year. Completely resets the market. You know what's crazy? There's a lot I want to talk about this, and we'll get to your comments, questions, etc. There's a lot that I want to go into this. First of all, obviously the salary. On top of Schlossnagle's 10-year, $30 million contract guaranteed, they also had to buy him out from A&M and pay the rest of the staff. And y'all, I mean, I was told a few days ago that, look, there's a former LSU coach on Nolan Cain. When I was told even about some of the salaries and things like, no, they're like tripling Nolan's salary from A&M. So he's going to be making over $500,000 at Texas. Good for him, right? So Texas has completely reset the market for coaching salaries. That's number one. So in all, with the buyout and the assistants, it's going to have cost Texas $40 million to make this change for baseball. Now, keep in mind, Texas A&M's roster is better than Texas's. Texas A&M's facilities are better. The place with Dish Falk that Texas plays out with the turf, it's a dump. Like, A&M Bluebell Park is beautiful, and they're building a new $90 million stadium. So already. So Schlossnagle had a better roster, more recent success, better facilities, and he left for Texas. What does that tell you about how he was getting on in College Station? He took a job that has not had recent success with a lesser roster, with lesser facilities, to get away from College Station. Dude did not like Aggie Land, period. That much became abundantly clear. And Chris Del Conte threw him a lifeline and a record-breaking contract, and he took it. I think a couple other things. We'll get to your questions, comments, etc. the effect here on A&M is that they are ticked off. And I don't blame them, but A&M is ticked off. And when you got rich people that are mad as heck, they're going to find a way to get what they want, sort of thing. It's almost like if you've ever been to like an auction and you got two people that really want the item, what ends up happening? They just want to win, so they end up overpaying, like Texas just did for Schlossnagle. And I think A&M is going to end up doing the same thing. Like, they ain't half-stepping. They're going to go get somebody they want. You're going to ask if it's Jay Johnson. I did ask that question last night and called around a bit. I was told in so many words, no, Jay's not going anywhere. I'm always skeptical. Like, what if A&M comes and dumps a $32 million contract in Jay's lap? But maybe. I mean, I don't think so. I'd give it a 8% chance of that happening. But if I'm A&M, I call. Of course I call. He's a sitting head coach that has a national championship. Yeah. I mean, Jay Johnson has more skins on the wall than Jim Schlossnagle. Schloss has never won a title. Texas just paid a man who's never won a title $40 million. Or for the buyout and everything. That's Richard Tilley, our partner with Parrish. We've been joking. So, like, I hear the I'm sorry, I got derailed by that. I hear the Parrish jingle and the ads all the time on radio, like on it, because we have a ton of stuff running. We have the jingle running. We have these adlets with little 5-second ads. We got the promos for SEC Media Days. We've got a ton of stuff everywhere. Lives with Brittany Rose on 100.7 The Tiger. Lives with Brian Haldane on Talk 107.3. So we had a ton of stuff running. And like every time I'm in the car and I hear something, I video the radio and I send it to him. He's like, I've never heard of it. And he just texts me. He goes, I heard it. Anyway. Sorry. Got a little derailed there. So Jay, I don't believe Jay would go, but I also believe A&M is going to make their pitch to get whoever they want, and are going to be willing to spend for it. A few names I was told yesterday to keep an eye on. Nick Mingione at Kentucky, Tadlock from Texas Tech. Remember, Texas Tech had a really good run there for a while. They just don't have the resources to keep up in the NIL era, so they've fallen back. Who was the other one? Oh, Skip Johnson at Oklahoma. So those were the three I was told last night. Again, that's not a final list or anything. Those are just the first like short list names that I was told. When I have something more definitive, I'll tell you. And then, of course, the portal implications. So I think you will start hearing of players going in from A&M going in the portal today. I think there are some that would very likely follow Schlossnagle to Texas. My understanding is that there are some that are really upset with Schlossnagle and that he's leaving and would not go to Texas. So some may wait to see who A&M hires. But I think you will start to see, and I think you will start to see players hit the portal today. And I think Jay Johnson is going to act quickly, very quickly, to get players that he might be interested in on campus for a visit, like very quickly. So, all right. Let's say some good morning, y'all. Fire away. Smash the like button there on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Facebook, like the page or follow along with the profile. We appreciate it. And share the post. Okay, here we go. Abner, what's good? Brian, Wynn. Matt, what's going on? Other than the AD, what ties does Slosh have to Texas? Seems like a lateral move, in my opinion. Exactly what I just laid out, Matt. You got a better roster. It's not a lateral move, it's a step back. You got a better roster at A&M. You got better facilities at A&M, and you just played in the College World Series championship. Texas has a crappy facility. They have not been good in a while, and the roster you got to rebuild. Money is a big part of it, but A&M could pay whatever. A&M could pay anything Texas can. They both got more money than they got. that dude wanted out of College Station. The scuttle is that he did not like Trev Alberts, the new the AD. But they did not get along. He didn't really love Texas A&M and the Aggie culture and all that stuff. So his friend Chris Del Conte threw him a lifeline and a gigantic golden parachute, and he bolted. Thomas Primo, Caleb Falk, morning, Matt. Any update on Zach Root's visit? All I was told, Caleb, and I'll see if we'll see what happens now with Texas and A&M with all this stuff, how that changes everything. Because I think I literally had someone tell me last night, I'm going to try to get this to as close as a quote as I can, said A&M is like they were out of their cage. Like they're pissed. And like they're gonna have watch what they start to spend in the portal. They're gonna have someone said to me, they're gonna have a second baseman making more than our quarterback. I was like, oh my God, you put it in perspective like that. Grahovac would look good playing third in Baton Rouge. Again, I think today you will see A&M players in the portal today. At least one pretty prominent one. Chihuahua 1, what's going on? Cody Champion. I'm never done one. Cody, morning, Matt. You called it with Schloss's non-denial denial. Didn't I tell you all that yesterday? Thank you, Cody. I mean, how absurd that he sat at that press conference and chastised that reporter without actually. The funniest thing was after that, going and reading some of the articles. Schlossnagle puts an end to Texas. No, he didn't. All he did was yell at a reporter. It was a red herring. Hey, look over here, look over here, look over here. I'll slap you in the face over here. Jesse Brown, morning, Matt. Must be the Tito's talking. That was the reporter from College Station who laughed at me for suggesting Schlossnagle would leave. And said it must be that I was drinking Tito's. Brian Wynn, who does A&M target now? So again, just the few names that I'd heard when I started to ask around early: Mingione from Kentucky, Tadlock from Texas Tech, and then Skip Johnson from Oklahoma were the first three that I heard. I did ask specifically about Jay Johnson, and was flatly told that's not happening. Again, Texas did call. I know Jay denied that, but he's got plausible deniability. But I'm you get it now, right? Because what I've said is unfolded. Like they made 4 calls. It was Jay, it was Schlossnagle, it was Eric Bakich at Clemson, and it was Vitello. And apparently they all politely said no. And when they circled back to Schloss, he was ready. So made it happen. Jordan Taylor, Calic High. Quest for a repeat in 72 days. Let's go. Go Bears. Kelly Gross, good morning. Jason H., morning, Uncle Scone. Welcome to all you Bama fans to our family, LOL. Not just Bama, A&M now too. Charles, Jesse, KDP, what's up? Trivia, good morning. Matt, what happened to ProCharge EV? Are they a sponsor anymore? So ProCharge, yes. ProCharge is still very much in existence and thriving. I just wanted to focus more heavily on Parrish at this time. Really big time for Parrish as we get launched. But ProCharge is doing great. That's for those who don't know, that's another one of Tilly and Terrio's companies with ProCharge EV chargers. They do great work. And the more and more and more that EVs become commonplace, the more and more chargers they sell. Tigers, hi Matt. Do you think Texas A&M players will stay, follow Schloss, or jump in the portal? Yes, and yes. One of the things talked about a little bit there as we got started. So, I mean, you could look at someone like Jason Lavalette, right, who was tweeting yesterday how A&M is the best place in the world. And so he's staying. I'm sure they're going to break him off. And I'm sure they're going to ramp up NIL. But I can tell you, the in the last several weeks, and again, I want to repeat this. The David Pierce news was the worst kept secret around college baseball. Everybody knew he was getting fired, and it was going to be a fire hire. I've told y'all that for a month now. They weren't going to go through a long search. And when they landed on Pierce 8 years ago, he was like their 9th choice. And they kept getting told no publicly. It was very embarrassing. They weren't doing that again. So it was a hire fire, which is exactly what you saw. And so everybody knew it. So Pierce knew he was getting fired, so that he wasn't out recruiting. The collective of the boosters were the ones calling players and saying, again, like I've seen some text messages even to players in the portal. Wait till you see who we hired. Here's what we're offering. Just stay with. Like it was Texas's boosters who were doing all the recruiting. So, I guess Tito's had the scoop. Jason, Scone Damas. I guess Scone Stradamus let him have it. JMJ, Sloss showed a lot with how he handled the situation. He undressed reporters while knowing the line through his teeth. Again, he didn't lie. It's the non-denial denial, JMJ. It's what I said yesterday. He didn't lie. Schlossnagle didn't lie. He never said, I'm staying at Texas A&M. He said a lot of things that were true. He said, I've poured my heart and soul into this job. I believe it. He said, I left my family when he left TCU. He and his wife were divorced, and when they were in Fort Worth, they still lived near each other, so he could see his kids and everything. He said, I left my family, which is true. He said, I took this job with the intention of being my last job ever, which I'm sure is true. Dumped my heart and soul in this job and gave it everything I got, which is true. I mean, he didn't lie. He just skirted the truth. I told that's a non-denial denial. He never came out and said, there's a way to do it. You want to end that conversation, you come out and you say, I'm not going to Texas. I'll be at Texas A&M next year. That's a denial. That is an unmistakable, pointed statement where there is absolutely no ambiguity. All he did was talk in circles angrily. And he looks like a jerk now because he yelled at that reporter, which I told y'all. The reporter did right by asking the question. The reporter just also asked the wrong question. The reporter should have said, Jim, are you going to be the Texas A&M coach next year? Now you've really got him into a corner. You don't allow him to bob and weave. Leon, morning Matt, worst kept secret sports. Lost another high-profile job and still hadn't won a natty, although he has taken TCU and A&M to the World Series. Maybe Texas will get back to glory. That's the other thing about this Schlossnagle thing, y'all. Like, Jim Schlossnagle is a good coach, but you know what makes you a great coach? When your collective will go pony up $750K for Braden Montgomery, who becomes your best player. That makes you a really good coach. Now, he'll have those resources at Texas as well, but I don't think Jim Schlossnagle, he's certainly not. There is a consensus that the two best and hardest working recruiters in baseball are Jay Johnson and Tony Vitello. Nobody outworks Jay Johnson and Tony Vitello. They recruit their behinds off. They're the two best at it. They are energetic. They are just maniacal about it. Those two are the best. Schlossnagle ain't close to them. But, hey, we want Braden Montgomery. $750K, done. Montgomery was going to Mississippi State. He's from Mississippi, like the Jackson area. All of his friends from high school and all were playing at Mississippi State. He was going to Mississippi State. And then A&M broke him off, and he's like, go there instead. Rex, A. Gross 1, good morning. Shelby, Kendall Rogers said Schloss deal was done before the last SEC series. What a bum. The sports director guy is done for a month, had no idea. Y'all, that follows the timeline. Told y'all they were. I don't think it was the last SEC. It was not the last SEC series. It was It was not the last SEC series. Let me see. I thought Kendall said it was between regionals. before the regional round. Before that plays before the regional round. That's right. It says between between A&M series and before the regional round. So keep in mind, you wrap up the series of Georgia, you have the SEC tournament, and then the regional fields announced and regional round. So again, like that plays with the timeline because like that Saturday where I told y'all that they made their pitch to their 4 key targets, and clearly they got down the road with Schloss. So again, it wasn't before the last SEC series, Shelby. Again, it was between the Georgia series, they said, and the regional round, and it was the Saturday, Sunday, before the regionals. Ethan Davidson, how does this move by Texas A&M? By Texas affect A&M? Does it benefit LSU? That's so. Ethan, I would also recommend y'all go check out Locked on LSU. I recorded the podcast last night. It's live right now. The whole episode is how it happened, the salary, how it impacts LSU, who A&M is going to hire. I mean, like it's, and then I have a little bit in there at the end about Jabari Antoine, but would definitely recommend go listening to Locked on LSU today. Please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel. Brock, Rock, and Wine, y'all. Another reminder. I got the info here at the bottom. Tickets at brortho.com, brortho.com. Brock, Rock, and Wine, Saturday, July 27th, inside of Tiger Stadium, presented by Audi of Baton Rouge. All the proceeds benefit. All the proceeds benefit the Brock Foundation, which is it's a great organization. It's a 501c3 and they support athletic training outreach programs. So it's pretty remarkable what they do in youth organizations and schools, providing athletic training services to the kiddos, free physicals, and actually like on Friday nights and other events for at these sporting events for kiddos. So support if you can. Last year, more than 3,600 free physicals. They service, some 13,000 young athletes, student athletes in our area with the Brock Foundation. So it's a great event. And look, there's live music, there's wine, there's food. It's in Tiger Stadium. It's an awesome event. So make plans July 27th to be there at Brock, Rock, and Wine. Kenny, completely enjoying the embarrassment for Texas A&M. Leon, if he gets $30 million guaranteed, will he have to pay Johnson the same? Will we have to pay Johnson the same? He deserves it. So remember, Jay just got a new contract after last year, and he got a 7-year, $12.5 million deal, averaging out to 1.718 a year. Like LSU's not going to rip that up and then give him more money than Texas just paid for Jim Schlossnagle, and they overpaid. But they had to get the guy they wanted. So no, is the short answer. I don't know. I don't know who else is going to be willing to pay a baseball coach that, except for Texas A&M, now that they're ticked. Joseph, Matt, how can I get a parish cap? Joseph, if you're in Baton Rouge, you can swing by the parish office, and we'll be more than happy to hand you one. But we will be having a parish hat party coming up soon. I know we keep saying that, but we just have to have the right event, and then everybody has to be in town. Like Terrio's been in Tampa. His daughters are playing in this regional soccer tournament. They're kicking butt, by the way. They won their quarterfinal game yesterday, like 7-1. They're destroying everybody. So go Macy in Georgia. Go Flying Squirrels. We're going to the beach. We're leaving tomorrow for the beach. So y'all, our morning Scone crew will get to see Eli and Olivia and Sophia and our whole crew again. Reese won't come on camera, but and Sophia probably won't either. But Eli will and Olivia will. You better believe that. So y'all get to see them starting, I guess, Friday morning. Anyway, sorry, Joseph. All that to say, whenever we're all back in town, we could find an event that makes sense. We'll do the hat party and we'll sling some hats. Bubba, Prods up. What's going on? James McKinney, Cody Champion. Is the kickoff format changing in college football? I saw some BS TikTok that suggested XFL format starts this season. In college football? No, in the NFL it does. Not in college. Brad, good morning. Coaching searches are always so exciting. So much for slow time of year. Brad, I say it all the time, man. When people say, oh, dog days of summer, there's no such thing. There is no such thing as the dog days of summer. Our attention shifts from games to things like this in the news cycle that become very interesting. But there's always stuff going on, man. The best example that I give is in 2011, the year when LSU didn't make regionals. Or they didn't make the SEC tournament, so they were done before Memorial Day. And usually that's a terrifying thought for me as someone who needs content. And that summer was when there was the lockout in the NFL. That was a big, giant summer of realignment where ultimately A&M and Missouri came into the SEC, Nebraska and Rutgers went to the Big Ten. Remember, there was that big Texas and Oklahoma almost went to the Pac-12, if you remember. There's just there's always stuff. That was when I think Johnny Jones got was that when Trent Johnson got fired? Yeah, Trent Johnson got fired or left for TCU and Johnny Jones got hired. There's just always stuff, man. There's always stuff. Chop, morning Scone. How is the portal looking? Any inside knowledge you have to share? They feel really confident about Zach Root. I can't tell you that it's done because I'm always a little leery, especially in the NIL era. But that's the lefty from East Carolina, and I think LSU feels really good about getting Zach Root, from my understanding. Now, does this with Texas and A&M change? Like now that Texas has to go rebuild their roster and A&M is ticked off and looking to spend. Does that change? Maybe. But 2 days ago, LSU felt really good about Zach Root. Again, I don't know if that's changed. I'm fascinated to see what happens with Gavin Killeen from Louisville, the shortstop. He was going to take a visit to A&M. I mean, he visited Vanderbilt, Tennessee, LSU, and he had one more to take, and he was waiting until the College World Series was over, so obviously that's A&M. Well, does he still visit A&M? Is he looking at Texas now? I think that's a fascinating one to see how that all plays out. And then we're going to see what happens with the portal and with A&M players and with Texas players. And I think you will hear of at least one infielder today who the murmurings are that he's going to jump, an A&M player who's going to jump in the portal. And I believe that when he does, that LSU will be involved immediately because they need infielders. So it is the net benefit of this whole thing to LSU is it starts a whole new portal cycle because Texas players have 30 days now. A&M players have 30 days. Whoever A&M hires, that school, like let's say hypothetically, I don't know this, but hypothetically, if it's Kentucky and they get Mingione, right? Again, I don't know, but hypothetically, if it's Mingione, then Kentucky players have 30 days to enter the portal. So, you'll have, so you're going to have this whole new wave of players entering the transfer portal. And that's benefit. It restocks the pond of talent for you to go try to grab players. Rocky, you called it, Matt. How dare a reporter ask him about doing the very thing he was preparing to do? Shelby, $3 million a year is $3 million a year is banana. $3 million a year is bananas. What effect does that have on Jay's contract? Doesn't, not now anyway. Who does A&M hire? Been through that a little bit. Jason, that's my favorite pair of hats so far. This one, yeah, a lot of people like that one with the fluorescent green. The pairs. I like it for this, especially because the logo is so big. Like I really do like this hat a lot. I like this one a lot. I like the way it looks. I like the way it fits and feels. I like this logo. I think it's just a little harder to see. I mean, that's unmistakable what that says. You know what I mean? So, Spurs, morning, Matt. Have you heard the rumors that the deal was done before the last game of the College World Series played? I mean, Spurs, those aren't rumors, man. I mean, I told y'all that yesterday. But again, even if you have a deal in principle, like this is the most important thing to remember. Even if you have a deal in principle, it's never done until the contract is signed, the coach is being introduced, and even sometimes then it's not done. Like, what if A&M had won that game? Like, what if A&M had won the College World Series? Okay, so you had a deal in principle in place before the regional started, and then your team goes on to win the national championship. Like, they're thinking, all right, you got no Shane Sadeo, you've got no Braden Montgomery. Like, how is this actually going to play out? I mean, they end up a game, like if they actually win the last game and win the national championship, do you think he leaves? Maybe not. So did they have a deal in place in principle? Yes, obviously they did. Like they didn't just get a deal done in 12 hours. You know what I mean? Like after they lost the national championship game. Of course it was done. And that's why my whole point was if they actually get this across the finish line, because we've seen a lot of deals fall apart in the 11th hour for whatever reason. Jude, good morning. Unless you're an Aggie. Can we get Hunt the Good Ag appearance so he can give his thoughts? I love that idea, Jude. Let me see what I can make happen. Christian, new SEC is about to be wild. Love the coup. Also, Oklahoma is filling Channel 9 and trying to use athletic department funds to pay down university debt. What implications will that have for them filing Chapter 9? Sorry. That's my media brain, Christian, that did not get that at all. I saw Channel 9. Not filing Chapter 9. Okay, bankruptcy. Got it. Let me look into that, Christian. I can't say I know a lot about Oklahoma filing Chapter 9, bankruptcy. So let me look into that and I'll see if I can learn more. I just don't know enough about it. Scott Shirley, non-denial. That's a selfish question. Then proceeds to tell us why he feels like he's already fulfilled all his obligation to the school he plans to leave. Bingo. Lowell, what up, man? Weston, morning, Matt. I know it's tough to judge with the transfers. Who has the most production coming back next year for the SEC? Who should we keep an eye on? I don't know that answer, Weston, as far as returning production, because I'm going to be very, very frank with you. I'm not looking at everybody else's roster right now. I'm concerned with LSU's roster. And again, that's also incomplete until you know what happens with the draft. For example, Bear Jones. If you get a guy back that smashed 28 homers last year, that's a dramatically different lineup than if he signs as a draft-eligible sophomore. So the answer is incomplete. Let's wait and see what happens with I am 20 minutes behind on comments. Oh my goodness. Let's wait and see what happens with the draft. Miracle Martinez, Texas won those Directors Cup, third time in 4 years. Miracle, like I get it. Okay, you're a Texas fan. That's fine. Literally nobody cares about the Directors Cup. You win seriously, you win the Directors Cup by funding a lot of sports that nobody cares about. Like that Stanford wins the Directors Cup every year. Like, seriously, great. You're good at equestrian and swimming and things that nobody cares about. Texas hasn't been relevant in baseball, nationally relevant in baseball in a minute. So you got to be real about what you are. You can't say that Schloss is moving to the varsity and leaving the JV when A&M just played for a national championship and y'all stunk. The bottom line is he just didn't love College Station and he didn't love Trev Albert, his AD. So he's going to work for an AD that he's personal friends with. He'll have all the resources and everything as well. So you got to be a little more like if your argument is the Directors Cup, that's weak sauce. That's really bad. NPH, good morning. A&M Longhorn drama going on now is why I'm totally in favor of the transfer portal for student athletes. Coaches sit in living rooms, promise kids and parents they'll take care of the student for 4 years, then leave, and the kids are left hanging. Bingo. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. I completely agree. It's why I say it all the time. Why do you hold 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old students to a different standard than the adults? Great point. Gabriella, good morning. Jeff, Dad, good morning. Brent, Richard Tilley Sr., good morning. My friend Michael, I know A&M has a really good catcher, possible portal target. I don't think so, but I wouldn't rule out it's who goes in the portal. Again, I'm going to say this again. I know from some conversations I had last night that A&M's boosters are wildly motivated to spend right now because they are ticked about this. And I think it's going to be fascinating what some of those guys get to stay. But I also know that there are guys on that team that aren't staying, and there's some that are not following Schlossnagle. They're ticked at him for leaving. So they're not going to Texas. So there will be opportunities. Let's see. Hopefully, if Jay raids their players, that'll give us a little indication he's not ditching us for A&M. Yeah, Gabriella. Again, I called like literally my best sources of information yesterday and asked that question specifically. Like, hey, what if A&M is super ticked off right now and dumps a contract in Jay's lap, similar to, because they can if they want to. Would he go? And I was told in so many words, or in no uncertain words, like, no. Easy to say. We'll see if A&M actually does approach Jay, which to this point, I have not been told that's happening. Tim, good morning. You got receipts coming today on AFR. Tim, I had him yesterday, brother. Tim, go listen to 5:30-ish on AFR yesterday. I should probably post the full rant, but I mean, I have it. I was not going to post it, but anyway. Yeah, maybe I'll post it. Go listen to the full rant on AFR yesterday. I did it yesterday. I was on air when the news broke, and I did it off the cuff. Carrie, Trevor Alberts doesn't seem like a likable guy. I'm telling you, I am not even guessing that was a big part of this. That Schloss, that everyone knew that Schloss and Trevor Alberts he didn't like him. That's not who hired him. Ross Bjork hired him. Remember Ross Bjork, who'd been the Ole Miss athletic director, who went to who left Ole Miss for A&M. And Bjork left A&M for Ohio State. So when Bjork left A&M for Ohio State hired Trev Alberts. Forgive me, A&M hired Trev Alberts, and I think that relationship was sour. Trev Alberts was insufferable as a college football analyst on TV. I can imagine how difficult it'd be to work with that man. Juan, let's be fair, man. When you're watching him on TV, his job is to give opinions. You're not always going to agree with his opinions. As someone who gives opinions for a living, I get that. Like, your job is to give opinions and to passionately argue them, and people aren't always going to agree with you or like you. And I get that. It's different working in a professional setting. Like, I don't know that that's the gauge that you could use. Please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Facebook. If you're following on Facebook, please follow along on this on the profile. Again, long story short, YouTube changed or Facebook changed some algorithms. I moved from my professional page to my personal profile, so you can follow the profile. That's where we're live every day. Kurt, good morning. Richie B, Wendell Norman, Dustin. How many scholarships does the baseball team have left that can be filled? It's a good question, Dustin, but it's also in this era an irrelevant question because NIL has really, in many, many ways, negated the necessity of the 11.7, because what you're seeing now is they'll allocate the scholarship money they have to and then fill in the rest of the gaps with NIL money. Carrie, how wild would it be if Vitello went to A&M? He's not. So Vitello, and I'm sure it'll be announced, Vitello, after this search by Texas in the last 3 weeks, whenever it was, Vitello got a new contract at Tennessee. And I'm told it pays him north of $2 million. Lowell, college sports and the transfer portal is nothing more than free agency. Players come and go as they please. Hard to build a program. And I don't care, because Lowell, coaches come and go as they please. And if coaches are allowed to come and go as they please, why would you hold players to a higher standard than you are the coaches? Pat Houston, A&M burning. No, because the whole point about the Bama is burning thing is Bama has had a standard for 17 years, and they're lowering their standard. They don't even recognize it, but they are eroding their standard. Or they recognize, don't acknowledge it. Richie B, A&M doesn't have that standard. Richie B, what's more absurd, Schlossnagle or the guy that covers Texas A&M? The guy that covers A&M. I mean, and again, I'm not saying you have to have every story, but the fact that I'm in Baton Rouge, I don't even cover either of those teams. I had that story. He didn't. And not only that he didn't, but then he crapped on me. Like, that was the problem. Like, if you don't have the story, that's one thing. But, like, if you're a good reporter, like, the absolute core of journalism is asking questions. Like, believe nothing, question everything. Like, always ask questions. Like, you see something like that, then you go vet it. Like, is Matt Moscona a credible source of information if you put something on Twitter? Like, you have to determine if it is. And a lot of times you chase your tail, but like, yeah, I am. Even if you don't believe what I have is accurate or right, that's fine. But like, it's at least something where you pick up the phone and make a call, make a few calls. Like, hey, is there anything to this sort of thing? Like, I spend so much of my day doing that very thing. You know how many times now, especially with the internet, people put stupid stuff on Twitter and message boards, or text me on my text line, or slide into my DMs. Hey, I heard this, just so you know, friend of a friend, yada, yada. And most of it's just crap. But if you're doing your job, you ask questions, you follow up, you vet it. And that guy, not only did he not do that, he just dismissed it and took a shot at me. So bleep you, man. William Schott, Schlossnagle was on the committee that hired Alberts. Heard he wanted the Army AD. Ray, morning, Matt. Lots of people in Austin and Aggies have their hair on fire. Interesting, both fan bases are seemingly not happy. Kirk, AFR Twitter receipts coming today. Came yesterday, Kirk. Again, remember, I did it at the end of the show, AFR, at the end of AFR yesterday. Rick Kelly, yes, that same Trev Alberts. Brandon, in an article published yesterday by Carter Carls, Schloss confronted the reporter off camera after press conference, told him, the reporter, to never speak to him again. Oh, wow. I wonder who the reporter was. I pray Texas A&M doesn't target Jay. Let's see. More to Matt. It's always a great day to be an LSU Tiger and a Texas Longhorn. Great rant yesterday at AFR. That'll teach you. Michael Cook, good morning. Cody Champion, just curious what Coach O is doing these days. I miss that energy. Roll Tide, what? As I understand it, Coach O's back and forth from Miami and Baton Rouge. He still, the most recently I heard, he still has his house in U Club and he has a condo in Miami. He's engaged. Again, last I heard, and that's been a little while, but engaged and just living his best life, man. Dude's got a lot of money and not a lot to do. So, sorry, y'all. Got a little bit of the nasal drip today, so I'm trying to turn the mic off whenever I have to, so I'm not just hicking and hocking and gagging into the microphone. Earl, morning, Matt. Is the defensive line for LSU a huge concern going into this year? Will Perkins play on the outside and roam? That a way to redirect the conversation entirely, Earl. Defensive line is a concern, and Perkins will play both inside and out. Trivia X will be fun today. Lee Hunter, why haven't LSU offered any 27 quarterbacks out of the state? There's a 27 kid. I think there's two in the state that are supposed to be super elite prospects. One of them is the kid at Dunham, and the other, I think, is somewhere up in North Louisiana. So they got some really, really good players. But you're talking about guys who just finished their freshman year of high school. Long way to go. Richie B, he didn't deny. It was a classic non-denial. It was the non-denial denial. Randall, when does Texas and A&M play in baseball? That's much watched TV. Oh, I'm sure they'll play next year. Well, I'll tell you. Okay. Well, I mean, so they do play because they're permanents. Remember, the league announced their. I was just trying to see who, like, where they play next year. So like A&M's permanents are Texas and LSU. Texas permanents are A&M and Oklahoma. LSU's permanents are A&M and Mississippi State. So everybody gets 2 permanents in the new format. So Texas and Texas A&M are going to play. I was just trying to see where they play next year. I don't see it right now. William Scott, word in College Station, A&M players and agents reps were being contacted by Texas NIL reps prior to any announcement. So, yeah, William, I mean, that's all over Twitter and everywhere about the possible tampering. And I believe there's probably truth to it. And even if they weren't, but again, that's a very serious allegation. And we'll see if there's an investigation into it. But again, that's one of those things, again, where you do your due diligence and you try to vet things. So anyway. Oh, where am I? Oh, sorry. Yeah. I left my family to be the coach at Texas A&M, took the job at Texas A&M to never take another job again. That hasn't changed in my mind. That hasn't changed in my mind is the part that backs him into a corner for sure. But I believe he took that job without ever intending to take another job. So I get it, man. Dude painted himself into a corner. He was put into a bad situation. He handled that very poorly. Like if you wanted to not answer the question, the best way to not answer that question is by saying, look, I got a locker room full of guys. I understand you asking that question, but I'm not talking about that. I got a locker room full of guys that just battled their hearts out and came close to fulfilling a lifelong dream. I'm not here to talk about other jobs. I'm here to talk about this College World Series. And if you have questions about that, I'll sit here and answer them. But don't ask me about that. Like that's how he should have handled it. It's still not the answer that A&M people would want to hear, but that's how you handle it, to not paint yourself into the corner with the one line, because all of it's fine. Until he said that hasn't changed in my mind, where then it gets a little gray. Thomas Lamont, is his family living in Texas the only reason he's only taken jobs in the state? I'll tell you this point blank, Thomas. Jim Schlossnagle wanted the LSU job badly. He lobbied very hard for it. Trust me, like if word got to me that he was lobbying very, very hard for it, he was making sure everybody knew how badly he wanted that job. And he was on LSU's list. But the problem was he had a bird in hand with A&M. A&M had offered him the job, and he wasn't sure if he was going to be the LSU's choice. So, I mean, they missed each other by like 4 or 5 days, as I recall, where he just had to make a choice. He had to make a decision on A&M. Like, they had offered him the job. He had to take it. He wanted the LSU job, but he took the A&M job just because he wasn't sure if he was going to be the choice for LSU. So he took the bird in hand. So, no, it's not just the state of Texas. Remember, I mean, he was a longtime assistant at Tulane under Rick Jones. So he lived in Louisiana before. He knows the LSU job. He knows the state and the culture and everything. So, no, it's not just a Texas thing. That's just kind of a coincidence, I guess. It's the way he did it, telling his team exactly why the players entered the portal. David Bass, Darren Reeves, Joe, one mad friend of mine is freaking out because Tennessee won the championship, is now calling them the big dog in the SEC. What's your opinion on Tennessee winning? How does it affect LSU? Yeah, Joe, tell your friend congratulations. They have a seat on the championship couch next to all the other one-time winners like Fresno State and Coastal Carolina. Let's see. It was not the Georgia series. Like, again, said between Georgia and the start of the NCAA tournament and the regionals. And it was, trust me, it was that weekend of regionals. How is health of the football program overall? I've been unplugged since January. Do you have less confidence in Brian Kelly with how bad the defense was? We're redirecting the convo. I think the defense, they made some great staff hires. I think the defense will be better. How much better is really the big question. I bet Texas would have been happier with Tony Vitello. Schloss is like Pierce 2.0. I think the big difference is Schloss has gotten two different programs now to the College World Series, and with those resources at A&M in the championship series. So I think Schlossnagle is a better hire than David Pierce. David Pierce was like the 9th choice when they made it. Gunner, what's going on? Can't spell Schlossnagle without loss. Green Z, sounds like Schloss didn't even address his players that he was leaving. Do you think that leads to players not transferring? I think as I understand it, I don't know this, that he did tell his team yesterday. But I think even when Kendall tweeted it, like he was telling his team now or something like that. I was on air when all that happened, but Olivia's going to co-host. Snap. We get the return of Larry. Yes, the return of Larry on Friday will happen. So Larry is my sister-in-law, Lauren, who Erica's one of 3 girls, and they affectionately call the younger sister, Lauren, Larry, because she's like the boy Barry never had. Barry's my father-in-law. Let's see. Kirk, Matt, you got my message on IG, not trying to bug you. I'll check, Kirk. I mean, I don't, just very candidly, I don't always check DMs. I'll check. I end up going into DMs and then I have like a laundry list of them. So I'll go check. Robert Potts, morning, Matt. Yesterday was wild. Saw a comment from 2021 where Schlossnagle said he has 0 interest in leaving TCU. But I believe that, Robert. I mean, like, I think at times that coaches believe they're not going anywhere until someone makes you the offer that you have to consider. It's a tough gig, man. Like where you have to balance like real legit career opportunities and the obligation you have to your current employer, you know? Horns up, Aggies down. Walter, I want to see the receipts for the A&M reporter laughing at you. Already did it yesterday on the show, Walter, on AFR. I'll post the segment. I was debating whether or not I wanted to post it. I'll post it. Earl, Matt, any news on Herring Jones? Will this be after the draft? I guess you're talking about Griffin Herring and Bear Jones. Yeah, we'll wait until we won't know until after the draft to see where they go. So the draft coincides with the All-Star game. So in Arlington that Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So that's actually while we're at SEC Media Days also. But we'll know then, or based on where they're picked or if they're picked, right? Taylor, morning, Matt, just joining. Why even answer that journalist in that way? Don't you feel like a doofus now? Bingo. Per AP last night, NCAA will no longer test for cannabis. I saw that. I don't think the NCAA should test for cannabis. My understanding is that the NCAA testing largely has all been for PEDs, and that schools had their own testing policies for recreational drug use. I don't know how much the NCAA was even testing for cannabis. So I think it's legal in a lot of states. I have no problem whatsoever with people smoking weed recreationally. If you're of legal age and it's legal in your state, I think it should be legal everywhere. I mean, like, I drink beer. I drink booze. Why? What's the difference? I mean, both are pollutants in your body that alter your mental state and your physical state. Like, why is it okay for me to drink whiskey but not smoke weed? I don't smoke weed, but if I wanted to, what's the problem with that? Why couldn't I go sit on my back porch and get high? I can sit on my back porch and get drunk. I've never understood. Like, I don't understand it. Like, we just vilified this thing, which actually has tons of great medical benefits too. So I don't. Like, why is it bad? Same way Saban assured LSU he's not going to. Yeah, it wasn't that. No. Candy cane. Like, we always knew Saban was going to the NFL. Saban assured Miami when he wasn't going to Alabama. He said, "I'm not going to be the Alabama coach." We always knew that Saban was going to go to the NFL. I mean, he interviewed with the Bears the year before he took the Dolphins job. Club Ruckus, good morning. Your rant about the journalist on AFR yesterday after the news broke was chef's kiss. I was dying laughing. I wouldn't have even done it. I wouldn't have even done it if he didn't take a shot at me. Like, that's what set me off. Like, I mean, it's the old don't start stuff, won't be stuff type thing. Like, some people look at me and they're like, man, you're mean, you're a bully, this or that. I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't start anything. I don't go pick fights with people. But if you throw the first punch, you better have your dukes up because here it comes. What did they say? Mess around and find out. He found out. Charlie, don't know how to say that. Have you ever been to Austin or College Station? Been to both, actually. Many times, both. Kevin didn't like the L leaders and the cult-like environment. That might have been part of it. I don't know that was really it. I know he had a big problem with the AD. He's going to work for a guy that he likes a lot. Ray, are the Aggies burning yet? Have you ever been out of your liquor cabinet to Austin or College Station? Yes, both. Many times. I just answered that question. And it's not a cabinet. It's shelves. See, this isn't a liquor cabinet. It's shelves of whiskey. Robert, you answered the question I asked way earlier. Different question. Is Trevor Alberts liked at A&M? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, Robert. I'll ask around. I mean, I got plenty of friends and colleagues who cover A&M and are kind of deeply rooted in that culture. My guess is he's not going to be very popular today. You know what I mean? After what happened yesterday. Richie, the rant, post it. I'll post it. What do you think Nolan Kane will do now? Nolan's been introduced as an assistant at Texas. He's following Schloss. Again, I heard that too. And they're tripling his salary. So good for him. Is Trev Alberts on the hot seat? I have no idea. Ray, who has the best chance of winning the next Natty, LSU, A&M, or Texas? Ray, let me see what happens to A&M's roster. I mean, right now, right today, A&M has the best roster of the three. I mean, they just played for a national championship. But I would assume that changes. Let me see who they hire, who stays, who goes, all that sort of stuff. I mean, A&M's in the best position to do it today, but that could change tomorrow. Gabrielle, who do you think Jay will get to replace Coach Brent? Yeah, so Brent Herring last night took the head coaching job at Nichols. He was an assistant coach in LSU staff and spent 10 years at BYU before he came to LSU this past year. So I don't know. I got that news last night. Interestingly, Andy Cannizaro was the guy who many thought was the front runner, to get that Nichols job. And in the 11th hour, I think Jay really pushed hard for Brent to get that job. And it's a great opportunity. And I think it hang on. I thought that might be something. It's just it's just a video making fun of Texas A&M. I thought that might be some news. Sambo, what's going on? Even if Bama still had the ice receipt, it wouldn't matter. Leon Williams, Matt, can you bring a couple hats to media days in DFW? And it's Butkus winning Trev Alberts. Yeah, same guy. Yeah, Leon, I think I can do that. Must be the Tito's. Locked on it. What up? I guess that's Gordy, I guess. Chris Gordy, by the way, not Gordy Rush. I guess that would be Chris Gordy. The reporter was Richard Zane from Texags. Okay. Good looking out there. I guess that's Chris Gordy. What up, Gordo? Thanks for jumping in. Y'all follow Locked on SEC. And be sure to follow Locked on LSU as well. Aggies will target Jay. Get ready. They're mad. Jay isn't leaving. I'll be curious. If I was them, I would pick up the phone and call. I sure would. But again, I asked the question last night and was told no uncertain terms that Jay's not leaving. So. Gulf South, if Jay is already making 1.7, it wouldn't be hard for LSU to throw him a few more dollars to match A&M offer, would it? Also, going to text you roofing question. Okay, Gulf South, appreciate that. So here's the thing, Gulf South. Like, at a place like A&M, it's easy to come up with that money. You really have to ask, like, how much are you going to invest? Like, could LSU go find another $1 million a year plus for Jay? Yes. But also keep in mind, this is at a time where I've told you this for more than a year now, where LSU has already begun the process of preparing budgets for what was going to be the inevitability of a revenue share. Y'all remember me telling you? I've been telling you that for a year. So coming up, you're going to have to start sharing $22 million in revenue with your student athletes, and they're budgeting how that's all going to shape out. Like where every dollar matters now, like now because of that, even more so than ever. Like, how do you justify that dollar spend? We'll see. Let's see, baseball schedule's not out yet. Yeah, it is. Not the dates, but we know the opponents. Come on. Yeah, like we know the opponents. Like, here you go. 2025. Dog it. LSU faces Tennessee. Oh. Bro, like, I absolutely loathe paywalls. Loathe them. Like, how do you write a story? How do you write a story that's not even your own original content? Like, you're just writing a story about dates for baseball or opponents for baseball games that the SEC handed to you. And like, you're going to put that behind a paywall. Bleep you. Paywalls. You know what that means? You're not good enough or creative enough to generate content that drives enough numbers to where you can go sell it. Paywalls. I'll never put up a paywall. You can always have my stuff you can always have my content for free. We'll sell it. Just be good to our advertisers. That's all. Paywalls. Whatever. Hate paywalls. Gilbert, Aggies are mad. Wait until football. Rocky, what's good? Can't be mad at the guy who wanted to upgrade schools. It's just how you handle it. Shane D, Kevin Coastal. Gulf South, how far down the list was Schloss for Texas? Then they reach out to Jay, Sullivan, a few others at first. I told the four that I heard were Jay Vitello, Eric Bakich from Clemson, and Schlossnagle. What's the number Schloss got from Texas? No, I told y'all that Texas was offering, like a month ago when all that was happening, that Texas was offering $2.5 million. The deal for Schloss ended up being 10 years, $30 million guaranteed. So $3 million a year. And remember, they had to buy out Schlossnagle and pay his assistants. So in all, the number is around $40 million that Texas made to make this move. Brad, you can have Billy Lucci on the show today. I don't know, probably not. Maybe. Ivan Salazar wondering why Aggies baseball coach got so bent out of shape, but the question about his future as a head coach, because he got backed into a corner and he didn't like it. Matt, do we know if any of the current commute are on campus and working out? I know several kids who sign with other schools have already started summer workouts. They can always leave if the draft works out again. I guess trying to know the current commits for baseball. Let me see. Let me see. Brittany, I completely agree with you on weed. I'm a conservative is the next guy. It's 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 really not that hard of an issue. Like it it got vilified. It was illegal. It doesn't make sense that it's illegal. But yeah, why are we suspending kids for smoking weed? Ivan, think Richard Zane was trying to take a shot at the Aggies baseball coach, but he got him really upset. I don't think he was taking a shot. I think he was asking a question that was, again, I said it yesterday, that was 100% a very appropriate question. It was a giant story. You're on the beat. You asked the appropriate question. Stephen Miller, good morning. Good morning. A decade at BYU to Nichols, that's one of a heck of a cultural difference. That's true. Talk about Grant Herring from LSU. He spent 10 years at BYU, spent 1 year at LSU this year. Now he's going to be the head coach at Nichols. That is from Provo to Harvard on the Bayou. That is a cultural difference. Kyrie, what's up? Probably Paeta, I think. I'm excited for it. We were gonna do another big UFC watch over at LeBerge with our Mockler friends, but I'm out of town. So I think our next big one is going to be August 17th for Adesanya. No better feeling than living in Texas watching these army costume wearing milkmen turds melt at a max level. Steven firmly believe Jay will be in line for Rays with the domino effect about to happen. I just wonder, like, I don't disagree with you. I just wonder what that would look like. Because I think someone had asked the question, Steven, I don't know if you were here earlier. Someone asked the question, like, does Jay now get bumped up to $3 million? And the answer is no. I mean, it's you just gave him a deal that was a very, very handsome deal a year ago after winning the national championship. You don't come off a season where you traveled for a regional and didn't make it out, and then you give him a 30% raise, right? Does he get a little bump? Maybe. I don't know. But 7 years, $12.55 million that he got last year is very, very generous. It's an amazing contract for a baseball coach. But, we're going to see Vitello's new deal come out, and I'm told he's going to be north of $2 million, and now Schlossnagle is at $3 million. If I'm Jay and I'm looking, I'm going, hold on a second. Schlossnagle's getting $3 million, and he ain't won nothing. Vitello just won his first natty a year after I did, and he's north of $2 million. I mean, you reset the market, Mark, good morning. Yeah, I would take Trae Young for BI in a deal that would swap those stars. I don't know if it happens, but I'd do it. Sambo, 22 mil for student athletes is 36, too old to walk on. Not too old. Are you good enough? Ryan, people still. Okay, babe. Is he still sleeping? Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Are people still going to keep blaming kids for taking NIL deals and transferring when you have coaches that do the exact same thing? They're making $11 billion. I love that you use $11 billion. I do like saying $11 billion. But that is the point I've made for so long. Why do we hold the 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds to a different standard, a higher standard than the adults? That's always been my problem. Like, why is it okay for a coach who has a contract, who recruits kids, who makes promises, gets a better deal, boom, leaves, but the young people are bound by what? By NCAA rules that won't let you leave? Bleep you. Steven, stuck onto the Texas football field yesterday. The SEC logo is already on the field. They're ready to be on from the Big 12. What are you doing in Austin, man? You're right there in ground zero right now. Solar Flare, KDP, we have to teach our kids only hard work brings success. I'm for NIL. We have to teach kids about true success. I don't know what you mean. Like, I think working really hard, becoming a great athlete, when a lot of kids are doing a lot of what Tom Brady said, right? When other kids are going to the pool and you're going to two-a-days, when other kids are sleeping in and you're waking up to work out, that is working hard. Like, athletes do things that other people don't want to do and become really good at their craft, and they get compensated for it. That is true success. What are we talking about here? All right, I think we're done. Thanks for being there, y'all. And I have a call at 9. So I have a call coming up here in like 17 minutes. So please smash the like button if you're there on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, Facebook. Please follow the profile. I'd appreciate that. As always, remember, Brock, Rock, and Wine, y'all, coming up July 27th. If you don't have your tickets yet, get them at brortho.com, brortho.com. Brock, Rock, and Wine, presented by Audi of Baton Rouge. And, of course, Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. That's Parish Construction and Roofing. Okay, y'all have an awesome day. Locked on LSU is already live, so your favorite podcast app. Again, I'll remind you, please go subscribe, or on the Locked on LSU YouTube channel. Appreciate you all greatly. Have an awesome day. AFR3. Peace.